Ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints have a surprise for us all this Sunday when they play the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're a Raiders fan who's now paying attention to the Saints because they have Derek Carr, you're definitely going to want to hear this. Plus, reinforcements are happening. A couple of star players are visiting the Saints. Some signings can happen at any minute. And I'm going to also give my thoughts on Jon Gruden working with the Saints. I think there's more than meets the eye here. We know the Saints did some 2-minute drills at training camp today, and they were balling out. And in particular, Derek Carr was connecting with tight end Juwan Johnson. I think this guy can be a stud. I think this guy could be Darren Waller light. He is more of a receiving style tight end. He could probably play wide receiver if he wants to. And right now, he's establishing a connection with Derek Carr, and he talked about this.
It's been good, man. I don't even know how to say it. It's just like my long lost brother, right?
Ooh, long lost brother. You love to hear that type of chemistry this early.
Knowing that we can just go out there and click, and he knows where I'm going to be, and I know where he's going to throw. That's kind of the biggest thing about, quarterback and receiver, chemistry, all of it.
And so that's the key thing, is that the Saints are loaded at tight end. You already have Jimmy Graham there, probably a future Hall of Famer, and then Foster Moreau, who just played with Derek Carr for the past 4 years. And now you have Juwan Johnson getting established with Carr. Carr's always connected with tight end, so this is going to be very fascinating to see this season. And another thing that is going to be fascinating to take a look at this Sunday, I am freaking pumped the hell up about this, and that is the fact that Derek Carr and the starters of the New Orleans Saints are going to be strapping up and ready to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. It is going to be the first time that some of us Raiders fans see Derek Carr in a Saints uniform decked out. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's happening.
Yeah, I'm planning on playing starting players in the first preseason game, and then we'll get to where we're at the second and the third.
And I kind of like this idea. You even saw the Kansas City Chiefs last year play their starters, and I think they'll probably play their starters in this upcoming game as well. It's good to get established, not be rusty when you're playing week one. And Derek Carr has to establish his timing and rhythm with these receivers, and there's really no better way to do it than against another opponent in a real game. So I'm excited to see this happen.
Working in a new quarterback kind of factor in there where the reps are a little bit more important this year?
That probably plays a little bit into account, but I think it's more about, it's a new season, it's a new group. I want to see our guys play.
Yo, I want to see the guys play. I don't give a crap if it's preseason. I'm going to be freaking stoked to watch this happen live action this Sunday. And if you want to hang out with me this Sunday while the game is happening, I will be live on this channel doing play-by-play during the game in case you can't see it, or if you just want to hang out and react together. And one thing I want to point out is this game is going to be in New Orleans. I'm really interested to see how the fan base reacts to this team, and based on their enthusiasm, we'll be able to tell the fans' expectations for this year. And expectations are rising when you keep bringing in studs to work out for the New Orleans Saints. And Kareem Hunt is visiting the Saints right now. He is at the facility. I think that a signing could quite possibly happen. Now, NFL Network has stated that this guy wants some cash. He's not going to play for a veteran minimum contract. So the Saints know that they're going to have to invest some money to get Kareem Hunt, and they seem like they're willing to do that. And I find this interesting because the Saints have Alvin Kamara, they have Jamal Williams, who they recently paid, and Kendre Miller has been looking good so far, the rookie. Why would they spend extra money for another running back? But we know Kamara is going to miss at least 3 games, and if this guy does struggle with injuries, then the Saints are kind of screwed in terms of a receiving back. Plus, Benjamin just got injured, unfortunately, and is going to be out the whole entire year. So it seems like the Saints are just interested in having a monster backfield to make sure that this season is special, and I really like this move to go ahead and try to grab Kareem Hunt. We know the 28-year-old is a former Kansas City Chief who spent some time with the Cleveland Browns. They have Nick Chubb being the power back, and then you got Kareem Hunt, more of a receiving back. So Hunt is the perfect type of guy to fill in if Alvin Kamara is not good to go. And Hunt has done well in terms of rushing, right? 3 touchdowns last year, 468 yards. He's had 1,000 1,000-yard season with the Kansas City Chiefs. But here is Hunt's receiving numbers over the past few years, and last year, over 200 yards receiving, 35 receptions, had his high in 2017 with the Kansas City Chiefs, 455 yards receiving. You love to see that. And 5 touchdowns receiving with the Browns in 2020. I think the Saints could use a little bit of that. You have more reinforcements on the defensive side of the football, and this is a little alarming to me because Demario Davis has not been practicing. Dennis Allen, the head coach, says it's not that big of a deal. We should expect him back at least before week 1 at the bare minimum. But the Saints are working out Anthony Barr right now, former Vikings linebacker who was with the Cowboys just last year. We know the 31-year-old Anthony Barr has been productive as hell as an inside linebacker throughout his career, and he was even playing over 600 snaps, pretty much a full-time starter with the Dallas Cowboys last year. And then obviously with the Vikings, he's done so much for that franchise over the past few years, but did have an injury in 2020 and was not able to go. People have talked about this Saints linebacker room, and there's not that much depth behind Demario Davis and Pete Werner. Behind those guys, you don't really have somebody who you're comfortable starting for a long period of time. Zach Bond has been doing well, but he's not exactly the guy you want to carry your linebacker room if Demario Davis is not ready to go, if Werner misses time like he did last year. So I think that Anthony Barr would provide some great depth for the Saints on this defensive side of the football if the worst situation happened. And I cannot talk about the Saints without talking about one of my favorite head coaches in the world, and that is Jon Mother effing Gruden, man. And it was so cool to see this guy out there watching Derek Carr. And by the way, this guy had a play call sheet while he's watching Derek Carr, and we have more footage of him checking out plays, talking to offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and it seems like this guy is just so stoked to be around the New Orleans Saints. You have somebody who said they saw Gruden at the airport and took a picture with him, and I want to point this out in particular. Gruden is not technically employed by the Saints. He's a consultant for free. He's doing it for no money, but when he shows up to practice, this guy is decked out head to toe in Saints gear, and I think Gruden is trying to send a message to the New Orleans Saints and trying to send a message to the fans, which is, hey, baby, I'm ready to go. Strap me up. I'm down for a position. I'm down to bleed black and gold right here, right now. He could have easily gone to practice with a regular polo, regular pants, but I think Gruden wanted to make a statement that, hey, he's interested in being a New Orleans Saint. Now, I haven't heard anything about this. I don't know for a fact, but when you look at all the things that have happened so far, Gruden helping out with OTAs and a little bit of mini camp, and now he's coming back to training camp. He just spent 3 days at practice. Will he be there in the future? Now, Dennis Allen did not give a definitive no, and he did not give a definitive yes. When you don't give that type of answer to that type of question, I'm going to go ahead and guess here that that's a yes, because how would you not have this guy help out your team for the whole entire year? He loves Derek Carr, wants to see him succeed so badly. He loves football, wants to be back in the game after he was canceled. And now he has an opportunity where he's walking into this building, and amongst all these offensive coaches, no disrespect to any of them, but he is the most accomplished guy in that freaking room on the offensive side of the football. And the Saints are trying to downplay this right here, right now, because Gruden is suing the NFL. But think about this for a second. Let's just use logic and reason and talk about this. Why would the Saints be willing to deal with all that pushback for bringing a controversial figure like Gruden in if it was just for consulting, just for a little consulting here and there? To me, you're not going to take on all that blowback unless you're actually considering doing something significant with this guy. And look, this dude has worked with Derek Carr for 4 years consecutively, took a year off while McDaniels was there with the Raiders. If he's just going to consult and give Carr a little bit of tips, couldn't he just call the guy? Couldn't he just talk to the guy on the phone? Why does he actually have to be there at practice? And not only at practice, but with a play calling sheet. He has a play calling sheet right there. And another thing, Alvin Kamara's suspension coincided with Gruden hanging out at a training camp. And one key thing you need to realize is that Gruden is suing the NFL and Roger Goodell, and Roger Goodell met with Alvin Kamara and gave him a slap on the wrist suspension. I know we all love Alvin Kamara, and he's a great football player, but I think he obviously deserved a bigger punishment than 3 games. I think Roger Goodell let him off really easily, to be completely honest. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but compared to what other people have gotten, like Calvin Ridley being banned the whole year for gambling, I mean, come on, you know, it's a slap on the wrist. And so Goodell being charitable to the Saints working out Jon Gruden having his lawsuit against Goodell. Could it possibly be that part of Gruden's settlement in this lawsuit, if he does settle, who knows if he settles, would also include allowing him to be able to be part of the coaching staff of the New Orleans Saints? I think we need to keep our eyes on this. I think we need to get excited about this because I think this would be absolutely awesome for New Orleans and for Gruden and for Derek Carr. And this Sunday when the game is happening, I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled to see if Gruden is on the sideline there as a non-paid consultant. But hey, I'm going to be live on this channel during the Saints game against the Chiefs this Sunday. So make sure you check that out and join me here. Turn on the bell, get push notifications for when I go live, when I release videos. This is WiFiWillie NFL. Peace out, everybody, and I hope you have a good one.